Thank you for joining me today. It's Brian Gubernick, and welcome to the No Days Off podcast, where we believe that every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. Most of us think, at least my experience has been, that most of us think that the mission ends when the event itself ends. Let's call it a sales campaign or a product launch or a mastermind. Maybe it's a big presentation, a client presentation. We cast a vision. We may build a plan. We go and execute or attempt to execute on that plan, and then we move on. Here's the truth, though, and I was just reminded of this recently when a business associate who attended a Jocko Willink event started talking to me about it. The truth is that the mission isn't complete until you've done the debrief. I think that's where so many of us fail, and what I want to talk about today. We don't go back, we don't gather the team, and we don't ruthlessly dissect what happened, good or bad, what worked, what didn't, and what we're going to go do about it. Without that, I think you're doomed to repeat the same mistakes, or you're doomed to not take advantage of those things that went well. Again, the debrief provides massive clarity as to how you should proceed forward. From Jocko's perspective, right, I've learned a lot of this personally from Jocko. In the SEAL teams, as he describes, a mission doesn't end when the last shot is fired or when everyone gets back on the boat. He says that the mission ends when you've gathered the team, you've stripped away ego, and you've gone line by line through what happened. This is what Jocko is referring to, or at least a portion of what he's referring to when he talks about extreme ownership, specifically extreme ownership applied to learning. You analyze the win, you own the loss, and you document the truth. This is what struck me, though. In the SEALs, this sort of process was a non-negotiable, at least according to Jocko. In business, we kind of treat it as optional. We pat ourselves on the back or we move on to the next project. We tell ourselves that we'll remember what to do differently next time. But if we're being honest, we probably don't remember most of the time. We actually forget. And as a result, again, it's really easy to repeat the same mistakes again and again, or we have to reinvent the wheel because we don't recall what we did well. Here's the problem. I think most leaders confuse activity with progress. We finish an event or we finish a project, and then we check the box. We sprint to the next thing. And that feels like momentum. I get it. I've been there. I do this from time to time. This is a great reminder for me as well. We feel like that's momentum, but it's actually motion without learning. The debrief process, though, is where the real growth happens. It's where you take an outcome, win or lose, and you extract the system behind it. It's where you turn chaos into maybe some clarity. And you do that by separating what worked from what was just maybe luck. It's where you can create accountability. Because when the whole team stares at the facts together, like when we're all analyzing the whiteboard or the results, excuses start to evaporate. I think Jocko's point is pretty simple here. If you don't debrief, you're choosing to repeat your mistakes. You're relying on hope instead of a process. And in his world, specifically in combat, that costs lives. In our world, in our business world, it's lost deals, lost clients, maybe damaged reputation. The debrief also really forces humility, in my opinion. It strips away the ego. Everyone from the newest hire to the leader, to the CEO, they put their cards on the table. And that's how you build a culture where people, I think, stop hiding failures and start owning them. Again, I don't want to go all negative here, though. There are things that are going to go exceptionally well, and we should be truly analyzing those things so we can repeat them. The lesson here, to me, is that execution is only a portion of the game. Reflection is also a big portion that we leave out. Without this debrief, you didn't really finish the mission. So how do we apply this in our world? How do we actually do this? I think you keep it pretty simple. I don't think it has to be all that complex. I think after every event or project or mission or contest or whatever it is, sit down with your team and ask a handful of questions. I've got 5 for you. Number 1, what was the mission? What was the mission? Let's all align. Let's make sure that we knew. Ideally, we knew it well before we started, but let's make sure we level set as we kind of do this debrief. What was the mission? Did we all understand the mission? Did we all understand what success looked like? Number 2, what went right? What went right? Like what decisions or what strengths are worth repeating? Number 3, what went wrong? I think you got to be brutally honest here and not sugarcoat. What went wrong? Number 4, why did it happen? Like, don't stop at the symptoms here. Really get to the root causes. Why did it happen? And then number 5, what will we do differently next time? How do we get better from this? Convert those lessons into really clear actions. That's it. I think it doesn't have to be all that fancy or complicated. It just has to be honest. So no surprise, my challenge for you as we close out today's podcast, pick a project or an event or an initiative, something you've completed in the past 30 days. And then schedule a 20 or 30 minute debrief with your team this week. Run through those questions I just gave you. Capture the answers, and most importantly, apply at least one change that you got from this debrief. Apply that one change to your very next project or like appointment, whatever it is. Remember, the mission does not end when you cross the finish line. It ends when you've debriefed, you've learned, and you've armed yourself for the next one. That's all I have for you today, the No Days Off podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. So let's get after it.